What is up, guys? Welcome to Between the Whistle. This is our first NBA recap of the season. We're going to talk about Thunder versus the Jazz. Not a terrible start to the season for this new era Oklahoma City Thunder as they get a loss 100-95 to the Utah Jazz. After a slow start to the first quarter, the Jazz were up 23-12. And then the Thunder come out in the second quarter, outscored the Jazz 34-26, and then in the third quarter they outscored the Jazz 28-19, and then the Jazz finished the game strong, outscored the Thunder 32-21, and ultimately come out with the win 100-95. So let's just talk about what happened in this game a little bit. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander 10 for 23, 3 for 7 from 3-point. 26 points, his career high in his first game with his new team. Just an awesome way to start with the Thunder. Here's just my thoughts on the game. SGA, he's a straight up baller, man. Like, he just came out, balled out, career high, 26 points. He did take 23 shots, but he kind of started out slow. He had some times in the game where he would make a lot of shots in a row, then miss a lot of shots. But ultimately, just a good game from Shai. He's the leader of the future for the Thunder, possibly our next awesome point guard once we get this whole Chris Paul thing figured out, whether we keep him or we trade him. I love it, and just speaking of Chris Paul, I love the way that Chris Paul played. He came out after we had that slow start, and he kind of got the offense rolling. Hit a couple threes in a row. All of a sudden, he had 10 points. And we finally got the offense rolling. I love the way he attacked the basket, just stopped in the paint, pulled up, got some good mid-range shots. He made some really awesome, just like veteran moves, just to get an open 3-point, which you didn't see a whole lot of that, except maybe from Paul George every once in a while. Gallinari, he had 21 points and 7 rebounds. Chris Paul had 22 points, 8 rebounds. But yeah, let's talk about Gallinari. He just showed how elite he is on the offensive end. The dude's a pure scorer, and he didn't play terrible defense. Like, he played all right defense. So just enough to keep him out there and just to be a threat in this game. He hits a couple clutch shots in the fourth quarter. Now let's talk about Steven Adams. Adams played like garbage. He really did. And not really what you expected coming out of the preseason after the offense kind of ran through him some games. And he made a 3-pointer. It looked like, hey, we got new Adams. He can score. Maybe this is how Adams was all along, but we had Westbrook and Paul George, so we weren't using Adams like this. But this game kind of looks like same old Adams. Even though he was going up against Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year. But still, he basically got his butt kicked by Rudy Gobert, which he usually does. He only had 3 points. He was 1 for 8 from the field. Only made like 1 free throw, I think. Just not what you expect after watching those preseason games. Let's talk about Hamidou Diallo. He was 5 for 8 from the floor, 3 rebounds, 12 points, and he was kind of the spark plug coming off the bench. He had a really good game. He brought a lot of energy to the offense, and he kind of gave me some mini Jeremy Grant vibes. Obviously not how Jeremy Grant is now, just how Jeremy Grant kind of played when we first got him, and then like a couple years ago. Just gave you like he's a little Jeremy Grant out there. It just gives you some Jeremy Grant vibes. That's just how I thought Diallo played, and he played some alright defense. Obviously he had to guard Donovan Mitchell a little bit, and he just kind of rolled out there coming out off the bench and gave us some points off the bench, 12 points. So let's talk about Billy Donovan. If you guys don't know, I'm not really a big fan of Billy Donovan. Never really have been since we've had him. Obviously, like, he had some parts where I thought, okay, maybe that's Billy showing what he can do. When we come out of the second quarter, we outscore the Jazz. Come out of the third quarter, we outscored the Jazz again. So I'm like, okay, maybe Billy knows what he's doing. Everybody thinks this is his time to shine. No Westbrook. Billy can do what he wants. No Paul George. He can run through whoever he wants to. But he called some timeouts, and we didn't really do anything with those timeouts. We come out, we ran an ISO play. Gallinari shoots a bad shot. Jazz ball. I didn't like the lineup he closed the game with. I think it was Chris Paul, SGA, and Schroeder all out there, and Gallinari and Adams. After Adams was having a garbage game, and Mike Muscala was having an okay game. He didn't make any field goals, but he had a good game on defense. Like, he didn't get sucked out to the 3-point line. He had 1 or 2 blocks. He's just playing good defense, but I mean, you can only do so much when you're guarding Rudy Gobert. He's kind of skinny to guard Rudy Gobert, but not what you expect coming from Mike Muscala. Adams didn't play a whole lot of defense. He played a little bit, but I mean, he didn't really do much. And Nerlens Noel only played 5 minutes when Adams is having a terrible game, and Nerlens Noel plays 5 minutes. I don't like that. I mean, he brought Muscala in for a little bit in the fourth quarter, and then brought Adams right back in. And I mean, Nerlens scored. He took one shot. He took a step back mid range from the free throw line, and sinks it. And Billy only plays him 5 minutes. And we all know I love Nerlens, the way he plays defense. He's a good defender. If he has to switch, he can guard a little guy for a little bit. Like, he's not a terrible defender out on the perimeter. We ran more plays than we did last year. We probably ran more plays in this game than we did all of last year. But I would have liked a little bit more ball movement. I mean, we still ran a lot of ISO plays with Chris Paul and Gallinari, and then it looked like in the first quarter we were going to have a lot of ball movement, but that didn't really happen. So yeah, just overall, I didn't like what I saw from Billy, and I didn't really expect much from him because he had games without Westbrook last year where he didn't do anything. He's had games in the past where Westbrook didn't play, whether he was hurt or personal reasons or a rest game. The year after KD left, where Oladipo beat the Timberwolves, I think. He didn't do much. He's never really done much. So honestly, if Billy doesn't have a good game in the next couple of games, I'm kind of over him. I'm kind of done with him after just that one game. I know it seems a little early, but so if you're a Thunder fan, this is kind of what you want to see. Aside from Billy Donovan, but this is playing a competitive team, a team who could possibly be a contender this year. We come out, we have a close game, we outscore them 2 out of the 4 quarters. Obviously, if we'd have had a better first quarter, we probably could have won this game. But it was a close game. Nobody expected that game to be close. We're 9-point underdogs. SGA came out and played awesome. Chris Paul played awesome. Gallinari played awesome. Diallo played awesome. Maybe the Thunder need to rely on their defense a little bit more. But if you're a Thunder fan, this is what you want to see, a competitive game. If it's close, cool. If our dudes play good, awesome. If we lose, no big deal. That just means we get a better draft pick. But anyways, that's my thoughts on this Thunder game. Thank you for watching Between the Whistle. Thunder up. Make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you want me to talk about. And we'll see you guys later.